Hi everybody, welcome back to the shop. So this week is a cherry crotch bowl. I'm just kind of trying to even up the wings on this piece before it gets mounted on the lathe. And there's still, saw marks in the ends of it here, so just trying to clean that up, straighten it. Facebook and Instagram, of course, at Sprague Woodturning. And this is just an 80 grit disc on my sander here. Just trying to remove the bandsaw marks. Yeah, so here I'm trying to line up, I want to see how far the wings come out. And once I determine where that is, I'm going to take a permanent marker and mark it on the tool rest. That way I got a kind of a starting point for the gouge. And I've decided to leave all of this tool work in here to give you an idea of a lot of times when I do these videos, I cut out a lot of the gouge work. So I thought I would leave it all in here. And I typically always go from the bark in to the base of the bowl. Pull and push cuts. I don't know if you noticed or not, so when I bring that gouge out to the very edge, I'm just kind of feeling a little tick, tick, tick before I decide to push it forward. Easy Wood Tools finisher, thought I'd give this a go. I'm having some tearwood issues there, so I thought maybe this might help. Very, very light cuts. Still not overly happy with it. So thin CA glue from Starbond. That'll stiffen up the fibers, and hopefully I'll be able to cut that cleanly. Checking it again, not happy, gonna go back to the gouge. And that's a 5/8 David Ellsworth bowl gouge. Yeah, so here I'm shear scraping, which typically will give you a really good surface. Yeah, this thing was definitely fighting me. It had a lot of kind of unstable grain, so it took a little bit to get it, but I did get it eventually here. The finisher actually did a really good job on those outer wings. Yeah, I didn't show it, but I actually marked the tool rest when I flipped the tool rest around to do the inside of the bowl. Of course, I'm always stopping frequently to check my work to see how things are going. And as long as your hands stay on this side of the tool rest, you really got nothing to fear here. But if your fingers get over that tool rest, well, you'll learn from that mistake. Yeah, so as long as you go from the outside to the center of the bowl, the base of the bowl, you shouldn't pull that bark off. Here I'm using a Scotch Brite pad on my tool rest and on the tool, my gouge itself. That way it slides nicer. So make sure you always clean your tool rest off. And this is in regular speed. Yes, I'm just feeling, for that edge. Just very lightly. Go real easy with it. Of course, if you are too aggressive here, there is a chance you'll get a catch and it'll come flying off the lathe. So it's always important not to stand in the throw of the lathe when turning this kind of stuff. And this angle actually doesn't show it very well, but I'm actually trying to show you that it's dished in there. Here I'm just removing any loose bark. I think that's a brass brush I'm using. 80 grit sandpaper just to take off any more of the loose stuff. So somebody forgot to push start on the camera and record the CA glue being applied to the bark, but that's what's been done. I completely saturated the bark on the entire piece. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of trimming off any of that stuff that's on the surface of the bowl itself. That way it doesn't gum up the sandpaper when we start sanding. And then you can see me just kind of feeling for that edge. Same thing on the back side. Shear scraping again. Okay, so we're happy with the gouge work. These are 3.5-inch dimple discs from sandpaper.ca. There's a link in the description for 10% off. And again, for the back side, it's a little tight getting in here. So this is just a little die grinder that I put the same sanding pads into. Well, I guess this one's a little different from the other one. But again, it's the 3.5-inch dimple disc that I like to use. And everything's being sanded from 60 to 320. Again, I do the same thing on the edges. Once I get it down to a certain point, I like to use just a flat block, and then that way it's nice and flat. And the last thing before any finish goes on, just do a little bit of surface sanding with the grain. First coat of wood bowl finish. Sure makes a big difference. Here, hopefully I can get the second coat on later on today. We'll be able to finish this up tomorrow. Again, I put it on the bark too. There it is. Okay, so before we do anything else, I thought I'd show you this. I got a lumber delivery, or I should say a log delivery from Troy. And Troy's actually from the Tweed area here in Ontario, and he's actually in the video that I shot, the walnut log hunt. But anyway, we've got an unknown species here. He thinks it's hickory. I've never turned hickory before, so if you're familiar with hickory, let me know if you think that's what that is. Here's the other piece. Again, hopefully, I don't know, the sun might be an issue. But anyway, we've got a couple of large butternut. So that one's 24 inches on the butt end. Same thing with this. Nice straight butternut log. It's 24 inches on the other end. This is box elder burl. Really cool spikes on it. And there's another big butternut log there too. Of course, these all died naturally and had to be taken down. And again, this is box elder burl as well. Lots of cool spikes. There's the butt end of that butternut log. I mean, there gives you an idea of the scale. This thing is huge. And yeah, there's some metal. We'll be cutting around that. Anyway, if you know what that is, let me know, will ya? Here's another look at the end grain of it. Is it hickory or not? And let's not forget about this huge piece of walnut. And for scale, that's a 14-inch roughed out walnut bowl. That's how big this thing is. I think it is 42 inches across the base here. Now it's unfortunate I can't turn anything this big because it'd be really cool. My lathe just does not have that capacity, so, and it's going to be too big for me to core. So anyway, I'll make best use of it that I can. So again, 4-0 steel wool between coats. Being careful on those outer wings. Again, same deal. I like to go with the grain and do the end grain as well. Speed here is about 1,000 RPM. Yeah, so this is actually the last coat. I didn't bother filming the second coat. And yeah, I'm using these Scotch towels. I'm actually pretty pleased with them. Just wipe the outer perimeter, make sure you get all the edges. I'll put the last coat on the bark as well. With the combination of the CA glue and this finish, that bark's not going to come off. Now I never really defined where I'm going to put the foot on this. I'll do that after I cut it off the waste block and get it mounted on the vacuum chuck and see where I want to do it. Of course, it's really important not to put too much on. Last coat. Last thing you want is any runs or sags. There, I think we're good. Stab this on the bark. There you go. Well, there's the first fire of the year. I got up today, I think it was -9 Celsius. That's about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. Anyway, there's the first fire. I always enjoy the first fire, burning up all the small stuff that I've collected throughout the summer. Anyway, that stuff's all next. Yeah, so I do this on some pieces. This is white diamond, and that's a white diamond pad from the Be All buffing system. And I only, I usually don't do this on walnut because I find that the white diamond can get embedded in the pores of the wood, or any porous wood as far as that's concerned. Cherry is not porous, so it's a good candidate for this. And it just removes any stickiness and any foreign matter as long as it's not embedded too far in the finish. Parting off the waste block. As you can see, there's not a whole lot holding that on. Let's finish it off with a saw. Yeah, so mounting this on to the vacuum chuck now, and I thought I'd show this whole kind of process. Sometimes you get it the first try, most times you don't. So we're just going to take this foot down just so it's not elevated off of the piece, and I'll make it a little wider than what it is there now. Again, sanding typically 180 to 320 on the base of the bowl because there's no end grain there, it's all side grain. Little different with a crotch piece like this, but I was able to cut the surface pretty clean. And of course I like to hand sign all of my pieces. Wood burners are fine. I'm going to get one actually for my cutting boards, but I prefer to hand sign my bowls. And of course, coat finish on the bottom. Gets 2 coats actually. Gross. That's what we woke up to this morning. Okay, that's it for this week's video. I'll be honest with you, when I initially mounted this on the lathe, I thought that we were going to have to do some inlay work on it. But that just goes to show you, so if you watch your pieces when they're drying and you see little cracks forming, if you put some thin CA glue in there, it will usually stop that crack from migrating. And then when it goes back on the lathe, you can trim away that and you actually don't have to do any inlay work. So anyway, that's kind of, I always do that when I put my stuff away to dry and when it's in the kilns. So here's the last little look. Again, cherry crotch. I realize it's shiny. Here's the back side. And it's 12 inches at its widest dimension across, and it's less than 1 inch thick. So that's that. And let's not forget about our 15,000 subscriber giveaway bowl. And if you haven't seen this, this is walnut with mussel shells and copper pipe. And when I hit 15,000 subscribers, I'll draw a name and I will ship this worldwide. The only thing is you have to subscribe to my channel and I have to know that you've subscribed to it, so your subscriptions can't be private because I can't draw your name. So that's it. So down below, don't forget about the links to Starbond and sandpaper.ca for 10% off at your next order. Just use code InlayJim at checkout. And along with that, in the description below is also links to Amazon. I'm now an Amazon affiliate. So by clicking on those links down below and buying from those links, you'll help support the channel. So that's great. And there's already people already doing it. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. And again, don't forget to give my videos a thumbs up. Anytime you do that, it certainly helps the analytics. What else? Facebook, Instagram, at Sprague Woodturning. And I'm not sure what we're going to do next week, but hopefully we'll come back with something cool. Anyway, till next week, take care, stay safe, and don't forget the bell. You'll know when I put up a new video. See you next week.